Oh, live now. Thank you, Tyler. Hi, everybody. Happy, what day is it? Thursday. Hello. Yes, September 2nd. Jill Simonian here with PragerU Kids. I am back for my weekly takeover in the Wamala studio. Thank you, Amala. Thank you.
You're always welcome.
What happens is I send a note and say, hey, I need to get into your studio because I want to talk to the parents and the teachers and the grandparents. And you've never said no. And
Accurate.
So now we're here. We're here because we're here because why? We're celebrating.
Yes, we are.
Christopher Rufo, who is the investigative journalist that has been, I want to say, taking down critical race theory on every single level through schools, through corporations, through, everything. He tweeted earlier, parents are revolting against critical race theory and classroom indoctrination because in the past 24 hours, school districts have suspended a teacher for promoting Antifa ideology and another teacher for having students pledge allegiance to the pride flag. It's just the beginning. It's happening. Oh, look. Go ahead. Do it. Go. I want to see. Listen, I am not trying to be maniacal and laughing here because I am anyone who is a member of PragerU Kids program Prep. We have, side note, we have over 15,000 members now and more than 30,000 subscribers to our PragerU Kids programming. If you haven't joined, if you haven't subscribed, go to PragerU.com/kids. We've got all the resources for kindergarten through 12th grade to keep our kids loving and proud of and learning about America and our American history and what makes this country great. So anyone who knows me knows that I take this decline of American education of our American education system so seriously to the point where, yes, I sometimes weep and then I get angry and then I weep again because I'm a mom. And this decline and destruction of our education system is devastating and it's awful. So I don't mean to laugh at this whole woke teachers being taken down.
I do.
But I do. Because you guys talked about these stories before, and anyone who's watching here, you guys have seen these stories. There was a teacher bragging about teaching his kids about Antifa. There was another teacher saying, I took the American flag down. This is happening.
In your classrooms daily. Yeah.
Yes. And parents, more and more, we are rising up. We are taking this into our own hands saying, hey, educators like this are not okay. Bring back the educators who, we know you're all out there, bring back the educators who want to unite students and communities in learning our full American history and uniting kids rather than doing these weird divisive things that are going to destroy America from the inside. So this is happening. This is good. And Amala, I got to tell you, first of all, do we have any comments on this? I know there might be comments. If there's comments, Tyler's going to chime in.
A lot of people are saying, thank God, I heard about both of these teachers and it's absolutely despicable what they've done. Mm-hmm. So a lot of people are just cheering on the fact that there's actually been repercussions.
Good. This is like, this lit the fire under our tushes, right? Can I say that? Is that too much? Is it too much like a mom? This propels us to keep doing what we're doing at PragerU Kids. It propels all of you, us as parents, trying to course correct what's happening in our schools. And I got to tell you, on a personal note, I know I started seeing this last year. And in particular, I really started noticing through my own children's Zoom classrooms, the lack of reverence for what has happened in America. And it started about a year ago for me personally when I watched one of my daughter's Zoom classrooms fail to give any kind of a lesson about what happened September 11th. Mm-hmm. And obviously we're coming up on the 20th anniversary. We all know that. We're all recognizing it and weeping about what's happening around the world right now. But what we have now at PragerU Kids is a children's book that explains what happened 20 years ago on September 11th in New York City. And we also have a companion story time for our Otto's Tales story time that all of you can, find on the website at PragerU.com/kids. We have resources that are really course correcting what so many of these woke teachers are trying to do. And I just want to, and what we're doing is a direct response to the divisiveness that is happening in our schools. And so what we want to do right now is to show you a little clip of the story time that we have to help parents explain to young children. I'm going to say like around ages 7 and 8, you know, parents and grandparents, when our children are ready to learn about certain topics in American history. This is purely a tool, a resource. It's available to help all of us navigate this very, very difficult conversation, but it is an important conversation. So let's just, I'll just be quiet. We're going to watch a clip that's up on our website now that is available. So go ahead, Amala.
Just as we finished our yummy treat, a sound was heard by all on the street. "Look there," said Dennis. "What's that up in the sky?" It was a plane flying low that should have been high. The plane hit one of the towers in a fiery flash. There was a huge explosion and a very loud crash. We all stood shocked, not knowing what to do. Was America under attack? No one quite knew. And just then, the other tower was hit by plane number 2. The first responders that arrived were so brave. They thought only of the people their efforts might save. The firemen ran toward the buildings as smoke filled the air. They displayed great courage, a trait very rare. There were people helping one another all over the place. Young and old, men and women of every background and race.
There we go. All right. So I will say, obviously, this is one of the most difficult conversations to figure out when to tell your kids how awful this was 20 years ago. What we just showed was the most, for lack of a better word, the most dramatic part of the story. The story continues with going to the White House, seeing President George Bush speak. The story continues and really, really capitalizes on how Americans came together after tragedy and how united we were and how strong we were. And that's what the story really focuses on. The book's right here. And it's available on Amazon. We encourage you to pick it up, to read it as a parent or an educator, as a grandparent, and determine, hey, this is something that is available to me, and determine if and when your kids are ready to start this conversation and to really explain to them what happened. Because, you know, as a parent, I'm conscientious of if my children are too young, what they can and can't handle and all of that. But it is so important to teach our kids our history. And because frankly, a lot of our educators are not teaching our kids our history.
Right. And you never know when the conversation's going to come up. I remember when I was in school as a little girl, when September 11th came around, we would all do a moment of silence. And without knowing what the story was, you're kind of like, oh, well, why are we doing this right now? So you go home and you ask your parents. And this is a good resource to have for your kids.
It is.
When that question comes up.
It is. Absolutely. Absolutely. So, so we wanted, this is brand new. This is our offering for this very tragic time 20 years later, and this is our response to the educators who do not want to recognize that America is a blessed place to live, and it is the greatest country that we are all blessed to live in. And these are for the parents that do want to reinforce all of these values with our children and our families and in our schools and communities on an age appropriate level. So we wanted to share that with you. Have you read this book yet?
Not
you haven't. Have you? Will's sitting here on the side. I wasn't going to put him on the spot, but I'm going to give him this book. I'm going to give him this book. Let me show you. He has read it. I want to show you. Look at show and tell, picture time. These are some of the other pictures, and these are some of the other pictures that...
It's beautifully done.
It is beautifully done. The illustrations are beautiful, and it goes on to talk about what this day meant in American history on an age-appropriate level. So we wanted to share that with you. Spread the word. Give us your response. Are there any reactions in the comment? Because some people have given us a lot of heat saying, what are you doing creating a book like this for kids? But again, it's a resource.
A lot of people are saying, beautifully done. I like that the subject matter was walked around and sort of painted in a light that's appropriate for children. Mm-hmm. So I think that's great.
Mm-hmm. We've gotten a lot of positive responses about it, a lot of positive responses. And then every so often we get I don't understand why you were doing this. We did it because it is important and it does matter to for the future of our country, because if we don't understand our history and if our children don't understand our history, they're not going to have a country to grow up in.
Yeah, and just because a conversation is difficult doesn't mean that it should be avoided. It's going to happen. And if your child comes to you and asks, well, Mom, what happened on 9/11? Why am I doing a moment of silence at school? And you can't answer that. It's going to be a really difficult thing to face.
Yeah, and one of the most tragic things, I am going to wrap up soon, but one of the most tragic things also is, you mentioned the moment of silence at school. Think of the schools who don't even recognize that this happened now.
Right.
That's the tragedy for all of those people who gave the ultimate sacrifice that day. That is the ongoing tragedy for the schools that don't even recognize and don't even teach the students. So we are focused on education and learning who America is and what we stand for, united together. And Otto's Tales today is September 11th, is the name of the book, and that is the name of the companion Storytime that you can watch with your children to really navigate this conversation. And we just wanted to share that with you. Are there any other comments? Anything?
All positive.
Way and all.
A lot of just speculation.
Speculation. Thank you to everyone. Thank you to all of our parents, grandparents, educators watching. We know there are incredible educators that are about 20% of our PragerU Kids Prep members are educators, and we know that you're out there and we appreciate you, and we are so grateful for everything that you're trying to do in your own schools and community to really uphold American values in our education system. And this is another resource for you as well, to keep in your library, to use bits and pieces of the book. If you have any kind of a conversation or lesson plan that has been approved to share with your students, this is for you. This is for all of us. This is for our country. And these are for our first responders and our heroes and our veterans and our servicemen, everyone, especially during this time with everything that's happening in Afghanistan and around the world and inside of our country as well. So we thank you for your support. Always visit us at PragerU.com/kids. Join, become a member of Prep. We're here for you. We want to help. We want to hold your hands through educating our children for the future.
Absolutely. That's a good way to end it.
Oh, I know we're going to end it. Okay, thank you so much. Next time we'll have another fiery takeover. We'll talk about woke teachers being held accountable next week, I'm sure, because it's happening and more is coming. Bye, guys. See you next time.